Russian football has had a somewhat stable but not particularly impressive recent history. In the late 2000s, Russian clubs did see some success in European competitions, and the national team consistently made it to major tournaments, even surprising as dark horses in Euro 2008. However, the truth remains that they are far from being serious contenders for top honors. They live in the shadow of their Soviet predecessors, known as the Red Army, who achieved their peak in 1960 by winning the first ever European Championships, etching their names into Russian football history. Since then, numerous generations have attempted but failed to replicate their success. In the 1950s, the nucleus of the team that propelled the Soviet Union to European glory took shape, reflecting the bold and confident spirit of the nation. Following victory in World War II and the establishment of the USSR as a global superpower, the post-war era, coupled with the demise of repressive dictator Joseph Stalin, sparked a hunger among the Soviet public for new pursuits and icons. This period saw the emergence of a vibrant football culture and a generation of exceptionally talented players. The standout figure of this golden generation was Lev Yashin, a goalkeeper born in Moscow in 1929 to a family of industrial laborers. During the war, he worked in a munitions factory while also playing for the factory team, catching the attention of Dynamo Moscow. By 1950, he became a regular for the club, and in 1954, he became the first-choice goalkeeper for the Soviet Union. However, it was in 1958 that Yashin truly captured the world's attention. At the World Cup that year, he garnered praise for his flawless performances, incredible athleticism, and jaw-dropping saves. Dressed in his commanding all-black kit, he earned the moniker the Black Spider. Yashin is hailed as the pioneer of the modern goalkeeper, revolutionizing the role at a time when keepers were more like spectators. Unlike others, he introduced techniques that allowed him to dominate his penalty area, opting to punch the ball instead of catching it, confronting opposition players one-on-one, and initiating counterattacks by quickly distributing the ball upfield. He was also a meticulous organizer, effectively marshalling his defenders. His impact is lasting, and he remains the sole goalkeeper to have won the Ballon d'Or. Another crucial element of this triumphant team was the versatile midfielder Igor Netto, who served as the captain from 1954 to 1963. Off the field, Igor Netto was a gentle and well-liked figure, but on the pitch, he naturally assumed the role of a leader. Playing for Spartak Moscow, known for their short-passing, possession-based football, Netto transferred this style to the national team. His exceptional vision and technical prowess orchestrated the team's play. Joining forces with Yashin were two standout forwards, Valentin Ivanov and Viktor Ponedelnik. Ivanov, renowned for his dribbling skills, became a talisman for Torpedo Moscow, netting 124 goals in 286 appearances. His international record was equally impressive, with 26 goals in 59 games and winning the Golden Boot at the 1962 World Cup. His striking partner, Viktor Ponedelnik, surpassed him in prolificacy, scoring 20 goals in 29 caps before injuries prematurely halted his career. The quartet of Yashin, Netto, Ivanov, and Ponedelnik constituted the backbone of the team that clinched European glory in 1960. Prior to this triumph, they had already tasted success by securing gold at the 1956 Olympics, albeit against amateur teams. The 1960 European Nations Cup, the inaugural international tournament for the continent, unfolded with early rounds played home and away in a two-legged knockout format. The semi-finals and finals took place in France. With only 17 teams participating in 1960, the Soviet Union benefited from the absence of football powerhouses England, Italy, and West Germany. The Soviet Union kicked off their campaign with a qualifying playoff against fellow Warsaw Pact members Hungary. Despite the once-feared Hungarian team being past their prime, the Soviets cruised to a 4-1 victory over two legs. This paved the way for a quarter-final showdown against Spain. However, Cold War politics intervened, preventing the match from happening. 2 decades earlier, the Soviet Union had intervened in the Spanish Civil War on the side of the left-wing republic. General Franco, Spain's military dictator, had led the opposing force during that bitter conflict. The fallout from these historical events lingered, and Franco, still in power, forbade the Spanish side from making the journey to Moscow. With Spain's refusal to play, the Soviets received a bye into the semis in France. There, they faced a formidable Czechoslovakian side in Marseille. The Czechoslovakians, with talents like midfield maestro Josef Masopust, had convincingly defeated Ireland and Denmark to reach this stage. However, they proved no match for the Soviet Union on this occasion. Ivanov showcased sensational form, netting a brace in the match. Ponedelnik sealed the victory with a 66th-minute strike, securing a 3-0 win. The Soviet Union then headed to Paris for the final, where they would meet Yugoslavia. The Yugoslavs had just staged a remarkable comeback against France in the semis. Trailing 4-1 with 37 minutes left, they scored 4 quick-fire goals, leaving the hosts shell-shocked. Buoyed by their shocking comeback against France, Yugoslavia carried that confidence and momentum into the final, where they dominated much of the play. By halftime, they held a 1-0 lead over the Soviet Union. Yashin's heroics in goal appeared to be the only thing preventing a potential rout. Despite the odds, the Soviets managed to level the score in the second half, courtesy of a goal from winger Slava Mitrovelli. With the game deadlocked, it extended into extra time, where the ever-prolific Ponedelnik etched his name into history by scoring a memorable winner. Securing the European crown in 1960 positioned the Soviet Union as a potential footballing powerhouse for the years to follow. The 1960s indeed proved fruitful as they reached the quarter-finals of the 1962 World Cup and achieved a commendable fourth-place finish in 1966, marking the USSR's best-ever performance at the tournament. Their near miss in retaining the European title in 1964, falling to old rivals Spain in the final, added to their impressive decade. However, despite these strong showings, they couldn't secure another tournament victory. As the 1970s unfolded, the stalwarts of the golden generation departed, signaling a decline in Soviet football. The national team faced a setback, failing to qualify for consecutive tournaments in that decade. The dissolution of the USSR in 1991 marked the end of the Red Army, consigning its European trophy as the sole triumph in history. The team's successor, the Russian Federation, has faced challenges in leaving a notable imprint on the international stage, grappling with the loss of talent from the Caucasus. Consequently, 1960 will forever hold a cherished spot in the hearts of Russian football enthusiasts. The aspiration persists that future teams can draw inspiration from the exploits of legends like Yashin, Netto, Ivanov, and Ponedelnik, aiming to recreate the glory that defined a golden era in Soviet football.